So we're here today to talk to you about recruitment that actually works. So this is Emily. We're sisters.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
You're older.
Like she'll tell anybody that'll listen. I mean, you can't tell, so she has to say. So I'm gonna do my Cilla Black moment. What is it?
What's your name and where'd you come from?
Yeah. So what's your name and where'd you come from?
The company name is Fresh Perspective.
Yeah.
And we come from Chorley. Mighty Chorley. Yeah, we do recruitment, but differently, don't we? And recruitment is this dirty word. It's got this bad stereotype attached to it. You know, people think... I actually had a message off someone recently where he was like, you know, you recruiters are all the same. And I was just like, hang on a minute. And I think that about you, but I'm not going to say that because he's a bloke. But I wouldn't say that.
No, the amount of people that... they're like, oh, what do you do? You're like, oh, I work in recruitment. Or you've got a call booked about recruitment, and the opening line is, I just need to say I hate recruiters. And I'm like, right, cheers.
And you get it, because I think it's this industry that's meant to be, it's built on money and not people. And so anything that's built on money but you sell people and that might go wrong, then it's gonna come with a negative stereotype, isn't it? With a bad reputation. But we do it really differently. And there's a reason why we do it differently. We've done the agency thing. We've seen recruitment from lots of different angles.
All the angles. As employees of agencies.
Yeah.
We've been clients of agencies in the last job where we were an in-house team for a tech company in Manchester. And candidates as well. Yeah.
So we have seen it from all angles, and I think Fresh was born from a view that we have seen it from all different angles. I mean, I was literally scared to death in the agency world because it is quite cutthroat and it can be really, really tough for every single person that's involved, apart from the people at the top counting the money. But I think what we wanted to do with Fresh is that, in our last place, we were internal recruiters, and me and Laura were pretty much responsible for the hiring and growth of the previous business that we worked at before Fresh. And we smashed it together, didn't we? But we did that through things like education, like teaching and training, and not just hiring, and working with hiring managers in the business to do things in a more positive way.
Yeah, in a better way. So like you speak to a lot of customers as our business, Fresh Perspective. You know, we're a recruitment partner, but we bolt onto other people's businesses and operate as a recruitment team. But one of the biggest bugbears that seems to come through businesses, people who work in businesses about recruiters, they just send anybody. They seem to not, first of all, they think that they're not screening the candidates, which may be true. And second of all, just like, why are they sending me these people? But if you walk it back, within a recruitment agency, the KPIs and the targets and the way that the model is very incentivized to hitting numbers for numbers' sake. So you have to get 3 CVs out the door every single day. And if you don't, you might lose your job. You need to have a certain number of interviews, a certain number of calls, and you need to make a certain amount of money. And that's all it's about. It's about CVs out the door, interviews, people into jobs. It doesn't matter if it's the right person, because if they leave within a period of time, they're
going to get the reimbursed anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, they get to redo the work. And so it's not always the recruiter's fault as to why, because they're just flinging CVs out because they don't want to lose their job. They've got a mortgage to pay.
But it's the model, isn't it, that's wrong?
So when we went in-house, we do think that. We went in-house. That's what we wanted to change. It was very much about collaborating with internal hiring managers, understanding them and their personality, the personality of the teams, what they need from recruiters, like what they need from us in terms of a service, the process, the check-ins, the chasing, and gently pushing them, or a bit more aggressively pushing them through the recruitment process. That was Emily.
And it's true though, because it's like, and I'm going to give you a little analogy, because we do like one of these. It's really cement it in your brain. But if you think you want an outfit for a wedding or a night out or whatever it is, and you've got something in your head, and if you were only focused on that particular thing that you've created in your own brain, and unless you're going to make that outfit, make that suit or make that dress, then you're going to have to be flexible on a few things. And this is the biggest thing that we say. It's that we talk about recruitment being like dating, and that you've got your non-negotiables, so your core values, and that people people have got to fit in with your company, the ethos, what you've created from the ground up. But you have to be flexible on certain things because people don't fit into boxes. I mean, if a dress doesn't fit into a box, then how does a person? And I think at that point, but when it's like someone was saying to me about speed versus readiness, because he's a contact centre manager. And I was like, God, we can really use that and talk about it, because it is, recruitment agency is built around speed and efficiency, because time is money and all that kind of stuff, because you only get paid when you deliver. Whereas our model is about paying for the project, paying for the service that we provide. And so there isn't that, we have to hurry up because we're not going to get paid, but also the client's not going to necessarily get what they need, because together we will ensure they do, because we don't stop until they do it, but we work out what the non-negotiables are, what they can be flexible on, and we deliver that with bells on.
With bells on, so many bells. But you talk about recruitment agencies being set up for efficiency, and it might be efficient at the time or seem to be efficient because it's fast and it fills a need. But if it's done quickly and you've not done it the right way, they've not been focused on finding the right person for you, you've missed that, and the candidate's been prepped to within an inch of their life for the interview. So they're saying everything that they know the client wants to hear. Yeah. That might not hire the right person, and then that will cause problems further down the line. That person might leave, they might have to go through a performance process, it might make other people leave because it's the wrong person, and that isn't efficient. So it's about getting it right early on. It's not always the fastest, it's not always the cheapest, but it is about being the best.
Yeah.
Which is what we are.
No, we are. And I think, we used to meet every single customer, prospect, whatever you want to call them, before lockdown. People. And we met everybody, because we believe that you should, in the first instance, you should meet people who you're going to work with, but you have to like them, because you should not work with me, Laura, or anyone in our team. If you can't stand us, then you're
shocking that actually happened.
You're not going to like the people that we would put in front of you, because at the end of the day, you've got to gel it. We see it as dating. It genuinely is. Like, you've got to find a recruitment partner that you hit it off with, that you're there for the good and the bad times. That you can gel with, that you can make magical things happen. And it's the exact same, because you're building a team. You're building a work family, and it's got to be right. But there's a guy who I've only spoken to him on the phone for 5 minutes. He did come to one of our events, which is great. So I have met him in person, but he's like, right, are you coming to me next time? And I just looked at it on Google Maps, and it's 2 hours and 22 minutes away.
Man.
And prior to lockdown, we did this all the time, but then lockdown happened, and we had to kind of get with the program and move to Teams, and then we kind of stuck in that a little bit, didn't we? And didn't meet people as fast as we should have done. And we're firmly back in the meeting of people, but we don't tend to venture out. But he wants to recruit about 35, 40 engineers. And you just think, if we don't get to know each other and learn about the business and see, the people in the business, the work environment, how to get there, what the commute's like, what the processes are like internally, what a HR saying, what a finance saying, have they got HR, all these kind of things. If I don't learn that about them, how can I expect to grow his business by a third? It just probably wouldn't happen. And so, do you think the biggest thing in choosing a recruitment partner is getting to know them?
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Yeah, and we actually have evidence that this is what we do, because we have a picture of Danielle on a forklift,
and that is all the evidence you need.
All the evidence you could ever want.
There you go. Evidence-based examples.
But it is about getting to know you. So we had a prospect. He didn't come on as a client because all he was interested in was moving fast. This agency that he didn't know
didn't want snails recruiting for him. Laura's all about urgency and pace, but this guy didn't like that we weren't fast enough.
He was too fast. Too fast, too aggressive. But these agencies that he never spoke to were just randomly sending him CVs because he'd seen his advert on Indeed, and he was just interviewing them. And within a couple of days, he decided. Now I fully expected him to come crawling back.
Like a snail.
With his tail between his legs, I hired the wrong person because he didn't do it properly, Laura. But at the time, we weren't right for him because we wanted to do it properly. He wasn't interested. There's no point trying to put, is it a square peg in a round hole?
Something like that.
There's just no point in that. So getting to know who you're going to be working with and understanding what you need from a supplier and what you want to do things right, then he comes to us. If you don't, then go somewhere else.
Yeah, we're not interested at that point.
You want to have a laugh as well. And look, when you're choosing a recruitment partner, look at what they do. Don't just look at what they tell you and do they do the same thing as everybody else. Like, we've really tried hard over the years to show people why we're different and what we mean by that. So it's what we do for our community, what we do for charities, how we treat people in general, how we treat our team, how we treat and talk about each other. Look at the reviews of how they treated candidates in the past and other customers. Look, kind of do your due diligence. That was hard to say.
Yeah, it's a hard word.
Because recruitment is all about people, whether you're asking us to do it or we're doing it for you or the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I do think it's...
And you should research, and I think, and this is what gets me a bit fired up and a bit passionate.
Can't tell.
No, but it's that, it's this whole jumping into bed with 10 recruiters, like, great if you're a little bit, not sure what. Yes, very good, like a dolphin. But it's great if you just love recruiters and you're like, I need to speak to more today.
Just want some attention.
Yeah, that is fine. But if you're like, I need to grow my business and I want to do it right, then I think jumping into bed with 10 recruiters is quite possibly the worst thing that you can do, because the amount of people who come to us after they've done something like this, like, I'm sick of having the same conversation, I'm sick of seeing the same CVs, I'm sick of interviewing the same candidates, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, and it's like, well, guess what? You're the problem.
Do something different.
You are creating this mess. You need to choose. You are though it is. You're a hot mess, but you need to think about how you treat finance, how you treat marketing, how you treat HR in your business, and take a leaf out of their book. Do you do the same with recruiters? Probably not, because you probably are using a lot of different ones. But the kind of things that happen outside of what you'll be able to see when you use lots and lots of different recruiters, it's like it's a term they close down the market. So they'll tell lots of candidates, basically closing off the market.
Fence.
Yeah, that's it. Ring fence. So they're telling candidates that they've been sent over, so that candidates would already say that information to a potential recruiter, and then the client almost then is kind of missing out on candidates because you've got recruiters. Because say if you're working with 10 recruiters, then if we do some maths here, if every candidate that they spoke to then spoke to another 3 recruiters, and recruiters are tasked with getting a certain amount of leads per day. A lead in recruitment agency world is to find out where a candidate is currently recruiting. Interviewing, yeah. So they would then tell this other recruiter. So then you'd end up with like 100 recruiters who know about your vacancy, who's going to start sending you spec CVs. And honestly, it is chaos. Just don't do it.
Well, like what you said before about how you treat internal people in your business or finance, HR. So even if HR is not internal, you have a HR consultancy. I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, you won't have more than one HR consultancy. You might have more than one accountant, because you might have a day-to-day. You might have one
like an internal and an external.
Double checks like all the end of your reports if you're a big complex company. But you won't have more than one HR consultancy supporting you. You'll be on board with them and vice versa. It'll be a match made in heaven. It should be. Your brand values should align, and you're working together, because they're just an outsourced internal function. You maybe not need to have HR permanently employed at that stage, depending on the size of your business. But you won't be working with 10 HR consultancies. You're not pitching them all against each other, because the service is deemed to be of a higher value.
I think it's
I like you like that.
I think, yeah, and I just, yeah, it does my head in, because I know you don't need to go to university to be a recruiter. And you know what? It will already make me go to university. I don't even make the decision myself.
Don't need to, but we have both been to university.
We have been, believe it or not. And I know that people like me like, I want to do recruitment. And HR, when you do a HR degree, you do a module about recruitment. Whereas we think recruitment is more than a module at university. Yeah. It's its own blooming... Oh. What is it?
Department? Function?
No! Your degree. But, it's not a module in what's a module inside? Anyway, it's its whole course. It should be a whole course. It should be something that you can get educated, certified, whatever in. But I guess that's how we view recruitment, is right from employer branding all the way to offers, inductions, onboarding, all that kind of stuff, which is really, really different.
Right.
So yeah, go on.
So I'm just checking the notes from Rachel, what we need to cover, because I think we've gone way off piece.
Have we?
What are the key? We've talked about why we're different and how we're different, but what would you say? Bang, bang, bang. What are the main differentiators with us?
Yeah.
What are the main things that we talk about in terms of our USPs?
Yeah, so we charge for time over percentage placement fees, which is a traditional way to recruit. So we would look at what it is that you want. We would then research it. We'd come back with a proposal, which would include a cost. That would be fixed, and anything that you, I guess, take from us within that project it remains under the price that we originally quoted.
Yeah, so I did a post today. We saved just over £8,000 with one client. They were looking for 2 customer service people. So we charged 6 something for 2, which would have been, I don't know, like more than that, a lot more than that. With an agency at 18% of 28 grand, so that's
don't ask me maths on the spot.
I'm sure it's more than 9 grand.
It's more than what we quoted.
But then they hired 3 of the candidates, so they hired 2 customer service people, but they took a third of our candidates into a sales exec position, so we don't charge extra for that.
So would that have been like £13,500 if they decided to take 3 in with an agency?
Yeah, more than that.
Oh.
I've not got a calculator near me. But so we saved them just over £8,000. I think it was £8,002 with our time-based model, as
because
opposed
we don't
to
charge
a
multiple
percentage.
hires.
Yeah, and then with one client, we were looking at a vacancy for a manager for 50 grand, and they actually hired them into a more senior position, offered them an extra 10 grand. Well, we don't charge extra on that additional 10 grand salary, whereas an agency would have charged 18% on that 10 grand. So for absolutely no additional work, just because the candidate's better in an interview. Yeah. They should get the money, not the recruiter. So sorry, just to add a bit of context.
Oh yeah, add a bit of weight on that. Yeah, and then it's the industry thing. So we don't specialise. We recruit across sectors, and I guess that's because we offer a more internal approach to recruitment. So if I came, we are your partner. If I came into your business, I was like, I can only help you with marketing roles. But I'm spouting all this crap about don't get into bed with 10 other recruiters. You'll be like, well, how does that work? So we will help you across the different departments in your business. Our background was IT back in the day, and when we went internal, we worked across legal, service desk, HR, marketing, finance, all different things, because we don't believe you need to be a specialist in that particular
specialist in recruitment.
Yeah, it's a specialist in recruitment and people and relationship building. And what's the final?
We promise to fill all the vacancies that we take on. And the fourth one that our customers tell us, which is less tangible, so we don't always talk about it, is that we really genuinely care about supporting you guys, finding the right person for the right job and treating people with respect and kindness that they deserve. And you can see that if you check out our Google review.
Look on the Google. I think we should end it there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, I think that's probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, was it meant to be 5?
Probably.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at the Google reviews.